and welcome to Mastermind with me, John Humphrys. In the spotlight tonight are Alex Wolff, a composer whose specialist subject is Stephen Sondheim musicals. Laura Miles, a housekeeping manager who'll be answering questions on dog breeds. Craig Murray, a company director whose subject is Alan Partridge. And Ray Dexter, a chemistry teacher. His subject, the Charles Paris novels by Simon Brett. And the rules, as you probably well know, are very simple. Our 4 contenders must answer 2 minutes of questions on their specialist subject and then 2.5 minutes on general knowledge. All of them are hoping that they will make it through to the grand final to win the splendid glass bowl and, so much more important, the honour of being recognised as the nation's mastermind. So let's get on with it and ask our first contender to join us, please. And your name is?
Alex Wolff.
Your occupation?
Composer.
And your chosen subject?
Stephen Sondheim musicals.
Stephen Sondheim, great American composer. Here we go. Sondheim was still in his 20s when he was persuaded by his friend and mentor, Oscar Hammerstein, to write the lyrics for the 1957 musical West Side Story. Which conductor and composer wrote the score?
Bernstein.
Yep. At the 1971 Tony Awards, one Sondheim musical received a record number of nominations, including one for Elaine Stritch, and went on to win several, including Best Musical. What's the title of the musical?
Company.
Yep. The musical farce, A Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Forum, opened on Broadway in 1962 with Zero Mostel in the lead role of hero slave. What's the name of this lead character?
Pseudolus.
Yep. Sondheim said of one of his musicals, which premiered on Broadway in 1973, that it was about flirtation, the wasting of time and the manipulation of people. Which musical?
A Little Night Music.
Yes. Follies opened in the West End 16 years after it opened on Broadway. The London cast in its opening night featured Julia Mackenzie, Diana Rigg, and the husband and wife singing duo Pearl Carr and Teddy Johnson. Which actress played the retired dancer Stella Deems?
Pass.
First of 2 published volumes of Sondheim's collected lyrics is called Finishing the Hat. The second is Look, I Made a Hat. The titles come from a song in his 1984 Broadway musical. Which one?
Sunday in the Park with George.
Yep. The 2008 Sondheim musical Road Show tells the story of the real-life brothers Addison, an architect, and Wilson, a sometime writer. What's their surname?
Meisner.
Yep. The prologue to the first act of one Sondheim musical is about 12 minutes long and starts with a line spoken by the narrator played in the original London production by Nicholas Parsons. Which musical?
Into the Woods.
Yeah. Passion is a one-act musical of 1994 set in 19th century Italy. Towards the end of the show, one of the characters sings Italian words to the tune of God Rest You Merry Gentlemen. What's the character's name?
Giorgio.
No, Torasso. The musical Assassins features 9 historical characters who each killed or tried to kill an American president. Who directed the first London production, which took place at the Donmar Warehouse Theatre in 1992?
Sam Mendes.
Yep. And your time is up, and you have 1 pass. The actress who played the retired dancer in Follies was Linda Barron. You have, however, scored a total of 8 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Laura Miles.
Your occupation?
Housekeeping manager.
And your chosen subject?
Dog breeds.
Dog breeds, purebred dog breeds, as recognised by the UK Kennel Club. Here we go. The Kennel Club recognises 3 different sizes of poodle. These are the standard, the miniature, and...
Toy.
Yep. The Kuvash, the Puli, and the Pumi are all classified in the pastoral breed group as dogs originally bred to herd or guard livestock. The name of what nationality forms part of their full name?
Hungarian.
Yep. What Flemish name, meaning little boatman or little shepherd, is given to the small black dog developed in Flanders and often used to catch rats and stand guard on Belgian barges?
Schipperke.
Yeah. The UK breed standard for the Shih Tzu specifies that it should be a sturdy, abundantly but not excessively coated dog with a distinctly arrogant carriage and a face resembling what flower?
Chrysanthemum.
Yes. What name, which comes from a Lingala term meaning village dogs, is given to the small hound introduced to England from Central Africa in the 1930s? Its range of unusual vocalizations includes a distinctive yodeling cry known as a baroo.
Basenji.
Yeah. Which toy dog is the smallest of the Spitzes? Queen Victoria at one point owned more than 30 of the breed, and one of her favourites, Turi, was present at her deathbed.
Pomeranian.
Yep. Which 19th century English aristocrat, sometimes credited with giving the Labrador Retriever its modern name, continued the work of his father, the second Earl, as a patron of the breed? He wrote of it, "The real breed may be known by their having a close coat which turns the water off like oil, and above all, a tail like an otter."
Pass.
Which breed, thought to have originated in southern China during the Han Dynasty, has a name that translates as sand fur or harsh sandy coat? It has loose, wrinkled skin and a bluish-black tongue.
Sharpei.
Yeah. What large breed is considered the national dog of Switzerland? The breed standard was set in the 1880s. Before that, it was known by various names, including the Alpine Mastiff and the Barry Dog.
Bernese Mountain Dog.
The St. Bernard, a dog born in 1865, is credited as the foundation sire of the modern Yorkshire Terrier. He won more than 70 dog show events for his owner, Mary Foster, before he was run over by a horse-drawn carriage at the age of 6. What was his name?
Pass.
What German word, which can, I'll start it, I'll finish, which can colloquially mean pipsqueak, features in the names of several breeds of German origin, including the working dog, now more commonly known as the Doberman?
Pinscher.
Yep, Pinscher is correct. You had 2 passes, Laura. Huddersfield Ben was the name of that ill-fated Yorkshire Terrier, and it was the 3rd Earl of Malmesbury who wrote about the Labrador Retriever with a tail like an otter. Laura, you have 8 points.
Thank you.
And our next contender, please. And your name is?
Craig Murray,
Your occupation?
company director.
And your chosen subject?
Alan Partridge.
Alan Partridge, that inept, hapless, and often obnoxious fictional broadcaster created by Steve Coogan. Here we go. What's the name of the conductor played by the musical director Steve Brown, who leads the house band on Alan Partridge's television chat show Knowing Me, Knowing You?
Glenn Ponder.
Yep, in the day-to-day, Alan tries to explain the group system for the 1994 Football World Cup with the help of a complicated studio prop. What name does he give it?
Pass.
In the film Alpha Papa, the radio station North Norfolk Digital is taken over and renamed Shape. What's the name of the media company that has bought the station?
Gordale Media.
Yep, Alan's given an opportunity to take over as the co-host of the magazine programme this time because of the illness and subsequent death of its long-serving male presenter. What's his name?
John Buskell.
Yep. In Knowing Me, Knowing You, when Alan chairs a chaotic question time-style debate before the West Chalfont by-election, he reveals that one candidate, Lieutenant Colonel Kojak Slaphead III, is actually a student named Martin. From which university?
Birmingham.
Warwick. In the series I'm Alan Partridge, during his lunch with Tony Hayers, Alan proposes a number of new programme ideas for the BBC, including a regional detective series set in Norwich. What title does he suggest for the series?
Sparrow.
Swallow. In Knowing Me, Knowing Yule, what's the name of the television chef who irritates Alan with her constant use of outrageous innuendo? Alan later reveals she's actually a failed disc jockey named Peter Willis.
Fanny Thomas.
Yes. In Open Books, Alan discusses how book titles that accurately describe the plot are useful to potential readers. Which book does he suggest would have saved a lot of time if it had been called Church Puzzle Collection?
Pass.
During an interview at Marple Racecourse for the Day-to-Day, a jockey explains that he's actually 33 years old and not, as Alan believes, a schoolboy. What's the jockey's name?
John Humphrys.
Nicky Doolan. In the climactic scene of Alpha Papa set on a seaside pier, Alan distracts his armed fellow, DJ Pat Farrell, by singing a song that Pat has previously dedicated on air to his late wife. Which song?
You Were Always on My Mind.
Yes. You had 2 passes, Craig. It would have been easier to call the Da Vinci Code the Church Puzzle Collection, and that gadget in the studio on the World Cup programme was the soccer meter.
Yes.
You have scored now, Craig, 5 points.
Thank you.
And our final contender, please. And your name is?
Ray Dexter,
And your occupation?
chemistry teacher.
And your chosen subject?
The Charles Perris novels by Simon Brett.
Novels about a stage actor turned detective. Here we go. On which road in Bayswater does the actor Charles Paris live in a dingy and soulless bedsitter? He moved into it after leaving his wife, Frances.
Hereford Road.
Yep. Paris is cast in a production of Hamlet in a decent interval and is given two parts to play. One is the ghost of Hamlet's father. What's the other part?
First gravedigger.
Yes, in The Cinderella Killer, Paris goes to meet an undercover journalist who's posing as a drug dealer at a pub in Eastbourne. What's the name of the pub?
The Sea Dog.
The Greyhound. What's the name of the actress who plays Gilly alongside Paris in the farce Not On Your Wife? He describes her face as perfect for comedy.
Tippy Stone.
Cookie Stone. In A Deadly Habit, the stage manager, Kel Drummond, tells Paris that she has started to visit an addiction clinic that's run by a charity called TORT to help deal with her drinking problem. What does the acronym TORT stand for?
Pass.
In An Amateur Corpse, whom does Geoffrey Winter dress up as during the party at the Hobbs house? While he's dressing in Mary Hobbs' clothes, he steals some of her jewellery.
Pass.
What's the name of the members-only club in Leominster Terrace that Paris visits to look for the actor and escort Gary Stain? Paris likens the exterior of the club to that of an embassy of a small but prosperous foreign power.
Winchester Club.
The Sparta Club. In Dead Giveaway, the contestant Tim Dyer wins a car on a television game show, but his win is overshadowed by the sudden death of the show's host, Barrett Doran. What's the title of the game show?
If the Cap Fits.
Yes, in Murder Unprompted, at which theatre in Taunton is Paris involved in a production of The Hooded Owl? Paris is secretly delighted that he's been given the #1 dressing room in the theatre for the duration of the production, even though he had to share it with a fellow actor.
Palace Theatre.
Prince's Theatre. When Paris is being prepped by Will Parton for his interview to play the role of a forklift truck driver for a corporate video, Will tells him to wear a pair of appropriately understated tracksuit bottoms, rubby trainers, and a T-shirt featuring which band?
Guns N' Roses.
Status quo. In What Bloody Man Is That? Paris is accidentally locked in a theatre with the corpse of an actor whom he suspects has died while trying to steal alcohol from the theatre storeroom. What's the actor's name?
Murgatroyd.
Warnock Belvedere. You had two passes, Ray. Geoffrey Winter dressed up as Margaret Thatcher. And the acronym TORT stands for the Alan Unsworth Trust. You have scored, Ray, 3 points.
Thank you.
So, at the end of the specialist subjects round, let's have a look at the scores. In fourth place, with 3 points, Ray. Third place, with 5 points, Craig. Joint first place, 8 points apiece, Alex and Laura. So, now it is the general knowledge round, of course, and if there's a tie at the end of it, then the number of passes is taken into account, and the person with the fewer passes is the winner. And if they are tied on passes as well, there has to be a tie break. So, let's ask Ray to join us again, please. And you have 2.5 minutes of general knowledge now, Ray, so loads of time to catch up. Here we go. Pomme is the French word for what fruit?
Apple.
Yep. Which former member of the Beatles married the haulage firm heiress Nancy Chevelle at Old Marylebone Town Hall in London in 2011?
Ringo Starr.
Paul McCartney. Adam Bede, published in 3 volumes in 1859, was the first full-length novel by which author?
George Eliot.
Yep. The title of a UK top 10 album for Radiohead in 1995 is a colloquial name for decompression sickness, a condition sometimes experienced by deep-water divers. What's the title of the album?
The Bends.
Yep, The Bends. What's the name of the boys' public school in southeast London, which was founded by the actor Edward Allen in 1619? It was originally called the College of God's Gift.
Dulwich College.
Yep. The American city of St. Petersburg in Florida is home to a museum that houses more than 2,000 works by a Spanish surrealist artist. Which one?
Dali.
Yep. The medical instrument known as an ECG records the electrical activity of a particular organ in the body. Which organ?
Heart.
Yep. What film series is celebrated by its fans each year on May the 4th? The date chosen is a pun on dialogue from the series.
Star Wars.
Yes. Whom did George W. Bush appoint as America's first female national security advisor in 2001, and then as the country's second female Secretary of State in his second administration in 2005?
Condoleezza Rice.
Yep. A new series of television idents, or images that appear on screen between programmes, began on BBC One in 2017 and features groups of people engaged in hobbies, such as fell running, sea swimming and kayaking. The series was designed by which British photographer?
Don't know. Pass.
Which England cricket all-rounder scored 14 centuries and took 383 wickets in a test career that lasted from 1977 to 1992?
Ian Botham.
Yep. Which small remote island has a population largely descended from the mutineers on HMS Bounty and their Tahitian consorts? It's in the South Pacific Ocean, about halfway between New Zealand and the west coast of South America.
Reunion.
Pitcairn Island. In the 1966 film Born Free, the naturalist and writer Joy Adamson is played by which actress?
Pass.
A ventilated white shelter for outdoor weather equipment, sometimes called a thermometer screen, is named after the 19th century British engineer and meteorologist who invented it. What was his surname?
Pass.
What German term, which translates literally as lightning war, was applied to the rapid German advance through Poland and France in the Second World War?
Blitzkrieg.
Yep, the temple complex at Karnak, noted for its towering stone columns, was part of the ancient Egyptian city of Thebes. Its ruins stand just outside a modern-day city on the River Nile. Which city?
Luxor.
Is correct. You had 3 passes. Stevenson was the chap who invented that thermometer screen. Virginia McKenna was the star of Born Free, and Martin Parr was the British photographer who was responsible for all those television idents. You now, though, have a total of 14 points.
Thank you.
And now Craig again, please. You start out with 5 points, Craig. 14. The score to beat as it stands. Here we go. Abergavenny, Prestatyn and Llanelli are towns in one of the home nations of the UK. Which one?
Wales.
Yep. The main ingredients of the Mediterranean dip, baba ganoush, are tahini and the puree of a fruit eaten as a vegetable. What fruit?
Olives.
Aubergine. The 17th century physicist Evangelista Torricelli invented a barometer that used a metal instead of water to measure changes in atmospheric pressure. Which metal?
Mercury.
Yep. The 1960s television series Daktari, about an American vet who worked in Africa, featured a cross-eyed lion. What was the name of the lion?
Clarence.
Yeah, the name of a biblical prophet who's swallowed by a great fish has become a term for someone who brings bad luck. Which prophet?
Jonah.
Yep. The Boomtown Rats topped the UK singles chart in 1979 with I Don't Like Mondays. Who's the band's lead singer?
Bob Geldof.
Yep. An area on the outskirts of Johannesburg is known by a name that's a short form of Southwestern Townships. What name?
Subado.
Yep. The human rights campaigner, who was a prominent member of the gay rights group Outrage, was also the Labour Party candidate for the 1983 Bermondsey by-election. What's his name?
Pass.
The German scientist Robert Koch, who did pioneering work on the causes of anthrax and cholera, won the 1905 Nobel Prize in Physiology or Medicine. The prize was awarded for his discovery of the bacteria responsible for which other disease?
Legionella disease?
Tuberculosis. Which film director is best remembered for his zombie horror films such as Night of the Living Dead, released in 1968, and its sequel Dawn of the Dead?
Pass.
One of the Just So stories by Rudyard Kipling tells the tale of how a certain animal got his skin. What animal?
Tiger?
Rhinoceros. The 2019 book Finding My Voice is an autobiography of a former winner of the Great British Bake Off, who was awarded an MBE in the 2020 New Year Honours List. What's her name?
Nadia Hussein?
Yeah. What early device was used by astronomers and navigators before the invention of the sextant to calculate the position of stars? Its name comes from the Greek for star-taking.
Pass.
Which athletics discipline was featured at the first modern Olympics in 1896 and was introduced for women at the 2000 Games in Sydney? The aim is to clear a horizontal bar at a great height.
High jump?
Pole vault. Van Gogh's Bedroom in Arles, Manet's Olympia, and Portrait of the Artist's Mother by Whistler are in the collection of a museum which opened in 1986 in a former railway station on the left bank of the Seine in Paris. What museum?
Pass.
In which seaside town, I've started off, finish, in Kent, did T.S. Eliot complete part of the wasteland in a shelter that overlooks its sands? Matthew Arnold once described the town as that brick-and-mortar image of English Protestantism.
Margate?
Margate is correct. And you had 4 passes. It was the Musée d'Orsay, where all of those lovely pictures were. The astrolabe is that early device used by astronomers and navigators. George A. Romero was the film director best remembered for his zombie horror movies. And Peter Tatchell, the human rights campaigner, Outrage, and all that. You have a total of 13 points.
Thank you.
And now, Alex, again, please. And, Alex, you start out with 8 points. The score to beat is 14. Here we go. What name is given to a dome-shaped dwelling made from compacted blocks of snow? It comes from an Inuit word for house.
Igloo.
Yep. Which country won the 2019 Rugby World Cup? They beat England in the final.
Wales.
South Africa. What name is given to the Viet Cong attacks on Saigon and other Vietnamese cities in early 1968? They proved to be a turning point in the Vietnam War.
Pass.
The Danish city of Odense has a museum and festival dedicated to a children's author who was born there in 1805 and wrote books of fairy tales such as The Ugly Duckling and The Snow Queen. What was his name?
Hans Christian Andersen.
Yeah, a photograph of the Earth taken from space inspired the title of the 1994 book Pale Blue Dot, written by an American astronomer and scientist. What was his name?
Neil Armstrong.
Carl Sagan. Which singer had her first UK #1 album with Back to Black in 2007? It features her hit singles Rehab and You Know I'm No Good.
Amy Winehouse.
Yep. What cartilaginous marine fish has species called paw beagle, cookie cutter, and smooth hound?
Carp.
Shark. In the 1971 film Death in Venice, the main character, Gustav von Aschenbach, is loosely based on a composer whose music is featured on the film's soundtrack. Which composer?
Benjamin Britten.
Mahler. Provincetown in Massachusetts is the site of the Pilgrims' first landing in America in 1620. The town is at the northern tip of which peninsula?
Malay.
Cape Cod. A type of protective overall known as a hazmat suit is worn by people who have to come into contact with dangerous substances. What does the abbreviation hazmat stand for?
Hazardous materials.
Yes, the epithets the bald, the fat, and the simple were applied to 3 French kings of the 9th and 10th centuries with the same regal name. What was it?
Louis.
Charles. The actress Loretta Swit appeared in the long-running television series MASH as Major Margaret Houlihan. The character is better known by what nickname?
Pass.
What term for a period of 3 months, especially one during a pregnancy, comes from Latin words for 3 and month?
Semester.
Trimester. In cricket, 2 pieces of wood sit on top of the stumps to form the wicket at each end of the pitch. What's the name for these pieces of wood?
Pass.
In a direct analogy to the imaginary Iron Curtain, a similar term was later coined to refer to the physical and ideological barrier between the West and China and its allies. What term?
Pass.
The room in Graceland that Elvis Presley referred to as the Den is decorated with green shag carpet, fake animal fur, and an artificial waterfall. Since the building was open to the public, it's become known by what name?
The playroom.
It's the Jungle Room. You had 4 passes. The bamboo curtain is what divides the West from China, or did. In cricket, it's the bails on top of the stumps. Loretta Swift's character in MASH was known as Hot Lips, and the Viet Cong attacks on Saigon and other Vietnamese cities in early '68, that was the Tet Offensive. You have now, Alex, a total of 12 points.
Thank you.
And finally, Laura again, please. And Laura, you also start out with 8 points. The score to beat is still 14. Here we go. A standard dartboard consists of a wired circle divided into segments numbered from 1 to...
20.
Yeah. The abbreviation ICU is commonly used to refer to a specialised hospital department for patients with very serious illness or injuries. What does the letter I stand for?
Intensive.
Yeah. In a television drama series that ran from 2004 to 2006, Ian McShane plays the owner of a saloon bar in a town in South Dakota during a 19th century gold rush. What's the title of the series?
Pass.
What name is given to the broad, flat piece of equipment attached to the rear of a ship below the waterline and used to steer the vessel? The name is derived from an Old English word for oar.
Rudder.
Yep. Which British organisation presents awards for achievements in film and television in the form of a mounted bronze mask? The award was designed in 1955 by the American sculptor Mitzi Cunliffe.
BAFTA.
Yep. A famous 1912 artwork entitled The Goldfish in the collection of the Pushkin Museum in Moscow depicts 4 goldfish in a bowl on a table. It was painted by which French artist?
Pass.
Which professional football club based on the south coast of England is nicknamed the Saints?
Southampton.
Yep. Which American novelist became the first woman to win a Pulitzer Prize for a novel? She did so for her 1920 book, The Age of Innocence.
Virginia Woolf.
Edith Wharton. The great spotted and the little spotted are 2 of the 5 species of a flightless bird native to New Zealand. What bird?
Kiwi.
Yep. The Crab Nebula, also known as M1, is about 6,500 light years from Earth. In which constellation?
Pass.
Which small country on the northwestern corner of the Persian Gulf has land borders with Saudi Arabia to the south and Iraq to the north and west?
Qatar.
Kuwait. Which Greek poet born on the island of Lesbos in the 7th century BC is best known for her lyrical love poetry?
Pass.
In 1969, the folk rock trio Crosby, Stills and Nash were joined by a Canadian singer-songwriter to create a quartet who performed at the Woodstock Festival. What's his name?
Young.
Yes, the unit of measurement for volumes of crude oil is equal to 35 imperial gallons or 42 American gallons. What's the name of this unit?
Barrel.
Yeah, an American civil rights activist, Baptist minister and politician stood as a candidate for the Democratic nomination in the presidential elections of 1984 and 88. What's his name?
Dukakis.
Jesse Jackson. Which fictional girls' school created by Eleanor M. Brent Dyer was founded in Austria after the outbreak of the Second World War? The school moved a number of times and the later stories are set mostly in Switzerland.
St. Trinian's.
The Chalet School. What word derived from the ancient Greek for medicine or drug is used for a person who is professionally qualified to prepare and dispense medicinal drugs?
Pharmacist.
Yeah. And you have 4 passes. Sappho was the Greek poet born on the island of Lesbos. Taurus is the constellation in which the Crab Nebula sits. That 1912 artwork entitled The Goldfish was by Henri Matisse. And in that television drama series, Ian McShane played the owner of a saloon bar. That was Deadwood. Laura, you have scored now a total of 17 points. So we have a winner. Let us have a look at the final scores. In 4th place with 12 points, Alex. 3rd place with 13 points, Craig. 2nd place with 14 points, Ray. 1st place with 17 points, Laura, which means that she goes through to the semi-finals. Congratulations to her. And if you would like to be a contender in the next series, do go to our website, bbc.co.uk/mastermind, and you can follow us at Mastermind Quiz. And do join us again next time for more Masterminds. And thanks for watching. Goodbye.
My specialist subject was dog breeds. I'm absolutely dog mad. My own dog is a puggle. He's a pug crossed with a beagle, Bobby. I got him from a rescue centre and he comes with me wherever I go. I applied for Mastermind because I quite often used to go and do pub quizzes with my friends, but a few of them don't want to go with me anymore because they found that I was being a bit too competitive, taking all the fun out of it. Basenji.
Yep.
Sharpay.
Correct.
Southampton.
Yep.
And I thought, if I am going to put myself to the test, why not come on the hardest quiz show on telly and do it?
Laura, you have 17 points.
I had no idea how well I was going to do coming in here, but I suppose now, having been here once, it's made me a little bit more prepared for the semi-final. And once it was all finished, I just wanted to do it all again, a bit like bungee jumping, so...